Okay, I'm going to get started. Everyone hear me okay? Marco? I'm going to get started only because I have a lot of content. I did a practice run of this presentation last week and it was an hour and 20 minutes. So I had to really, compress it. My name is Virginia Corbett. I'm a tier 4 coaching client. And I live in the Hudson Valley, which is all the areas north of New York City and North Jersey on both sides of the river. And this is actually the first time I've been able to present at one of the events. It's my third event, my first time presenting. So excited. I'm really hoping that no matter where you are in your business, that something I talked to you about today, you're gonna be able to take that back to your business or take it back to your teams. Just real quick, like how I got here, in my story has a little bit to do with what we're gonna talk about today. So I've been a real estate agent just a little over 4 years. And in the fourth quarter of 2017, I had a major all-encompassing series of life events. I filed for divorce in October. And then 30 days to the day later, I got laid off of my big corporate 6-figure job with health insurance and 401k and all that kind of cool stuff that we, our middle-class mindset, we all like to hang on to. So there went that. And then a month later, I found myself having to leave my home. So happy holidays. Here I am. No job, no spouse, 2 kids, no house. So what I'm going to do? Well, real estate always looked fun. I think I'd be good at that. Why don't I give that a try? So on January 2nd, I signed up for real estate school and got my license about 3 months later. And then from the beginning, I really started to implement the things that I'm going to talk about today. And I've sort of consistently maintained them the entire time. And what that enabled me to do is that first year, I really kind of built up that first sort of 9 months of a year, I kind of built up my business and started closings. And, I had about 9 closings that year. But then it enabled me to catapult that first full year. I went to 42 closings, and then I doubled our business with 85 closings in 2020. Then I started a small team, and we got to 135 in 2021. And this year, we should be at just about 200 deals. I have a team of about 14 agents. I'd say probably 5 of them won't even have a closing this year because they're so new. But we just keep having growth year on year, and it's all based on the things that I've done, which is kind of based right here on this very long title. Awesomeness is overrated. You don't have to be the best at anything. You just have to be good at the right things repeatedly. Now, I am pretty convinced it's maybe the longest title in BSM history. And the whole topic is a little bit of a joke on how it came about. I was really struggling to come up with a topic. And so I went through all these different ideas, and every one, I just felt like, I do that. Like I do all of these things, but am I really that amazing at any one of these things that I deserve to be up here for 45 minutes talking about them? And every topic I thought of, there was like someone else at Club Wealth that I just thought was better at it than me. So I was just going to try to not do a topic, but Ron Anderson was not having that. So I jokingly just suggested in a Facebook Messenger post, why don't I just do a topic and call it Awesomeness is Everything, just don't suck at the important stuff. And I said it with lots of like, ha ha ha, smiling emojis to follow so that Ron would understand I was only kidding. But apparently he doesn't speak emoji because he instantly replied, that's perfect. Michael and I will clean up that title and we'll get right back to you. Why didn't I just say I would do client events or something like that? Because now I'm in a pickle where I'm in this position where I had to make this joke of a topic, something that you would all find interesting. So I had to think about it. And I was like, well, can I find the truth in this, right? If I really am not that like completely amazing at any one thing, what is the reason why I've been able to have this growth year on year? And finally, I just accepted the fact that awesomeness is overrated. I mean, Voltaire said, the best is the enemy of the good. The best thing to be awesome at is consistency. Consistency trumps awesomeness every day of the week. I mean, think about different careers that this takes place in. Look at athletes. Right? Think about Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. What were they known for? They were known for day in, day out, working on the fundamentals in the gym before all of their teammates were in. They were practicing while their teammates were still recovering from the celebration of the win the night before. What about farmers? Well, if you're a dairy farmer, I don't care what organic, GMO-free, hypoallergenic superfood you're feeding your cows, you still got to get up and you got to milk, feed, and water those things at 4 a.m. and 4 p.m. Now, cake bakers. Now I'm going to compare. Now this is a little bit on the other extreme. Cake bakers are really cake decorators. So amateur cake decorators, they're kind of like real estate agents in a way, right? So what do? They watch like the Food Network and HGTV, and they watch all these cake decorating competitions. And what do they think? I could do that. That looks like fun. Can't be too hard. So they go and they take a cake decorating class and they buy all the fancy glittery cake decorating tools. And then they go to make a cake. But they don't know how to bake. They don't own a sheet pan. And their oven can hold a consistent temperature for more than 5 minutes. So they realize they're like, well, I better do something. So they watch a 10-minute YouTube video. They borrow their grandma's rusty pan and their kid's easy bake oven. And they manage to put something together. And it looks really pretty, really fancy, lots of glitter, lots of color. But someone goes to cut it and it collapses. And it tastes horrible. Is that a good cake? On the other hand, if you have someone that can bake an amazing cake and whip up a fabulous buttercream, do you care if there's crumbs in the icing or if it looks like they decorated it while they were on the subway? No, that's a good cake, right? That's a good cake. So what we're going to talk about today is cake baking for real estate agents. Now, there are a lot of other sessions where you can learn about cake decorating here today and other places. And cake decorating is important. But if you don't know how to bake, your cake's going to collapse. So as a real estate agent, what's the equivalent to being a good baker? So for me, this is all my opinion. This is what I've done. That's all I can speak to. There are 7 things that I've consistently done in my business since the beginning. Each one of these 7 things probably deserves its own session. So we're going to go through them pretty quickly. The day in the life of a real estate agent is full of unpredictability, unknown chaos, right? So you need to take control of your life by putting structure around it. This is how you do it. Anyone say, we got to get back to the fundamentals, markets are shifting? Who's heard that at this conference or even somewhere else? Yeah, I've heard it too. So I'm just sitting here scratching my head thinking like, why'd y'all stop? Like, did I miss the memo that we were supposed to stop the fundamentals? We never stop the fundamentals. So my fundamentals start with my morning routine. How many have read the book Miracle Morning? If you haven't, highly recommend it. The best $12 in 5 hours you'll spend. It'll change your life and elevate your business in a major way. Your morning routine is the rudder of your day. If I have a good morning routine, I have a good day. If I don't have a good morning routine, I don't have a good day. But you know what? I always have a good morning routine because it's that important to me. First thing I do is I ban all media and my cell phone's on timeout. I don't touch my cell phone for the first 2 hours of my day. Then I focus on what's important. My spiritual health, my mental health, my emotional health, my financial and business health, and my physical health. If you read the book, they'll give you a plan to get it all done in an hour. I'm an extremist, so my morning routine is 2.5 hours, but you can do it in an hour. So part of my morning routine actually goes into the second thing, my learning and development. So it is no secret that a successful real estate agent, and many of the real estate agents here at this conference today, out-earn attorneys and surgeons. An attorney goes to college for about 7 years, surgeon about 13 in New York State, real estate agent goes to school for 75 hours. How arrogant would it be to think that with 75 hours of education, we can out-earn these professionals? Getting your real estate license is like getting your GED. You then have the rest of your life or the rest of your career to get your bachelor's degree, your master's degree, and your PhD in your craft. And how do you do it? Well, the good news is you can learn a lot for free with a library card and an internet connection. Some examples are reading. So I'm a big reader, always been an avid reader. But but I had read somewhere that that many successful CEOs and millionaires read a book a week. I want to be a successful CEO and millionaire. I read a book a week. I got really into heavy reading. I did the 75-part challenge, completed it a couple times in the past year. That kind of kicked that off. So now I read 40 to 50 pages a day. But what about audiobooks? Do you know that as a real estate agent, you spend more time in your car than a matriculated college student spends in class? Which means you can get the equivalent of a college degree in between showing appointments if you use the time wisely. Masterminds. So I got to be honest, my favorite part of Club Wealth is the masterminds. I'm in Club Wealth Mastermind, and I'm in one other very high level mastermind group. I always want to be the least experienced person in the room, the dumbest person in the room, the person that has the most to learn. And I learned so much in those situations. If you are not taking advantage of every single Club Wealth Mastermind that you are eligible to attend, you are missing out on one of the best benefits of being in this program. Coaching. Obviously, it's a coaching company. We all love coaching here. I've been coached in one way or another from the beginning of my career. Some people object to the cost of coaching. For me, coaching is free. Actually, coaching is profitable for me. I learned something last year in coaching that I implemented immediately, and within 9 days had paid for my coaching within the year. Was paid for my coaching for the year within 9 days. Brought it back to the team. It earns us probably about $250,000 in the last year. So just on that alone, I'm at an 8-to-1 ROI. And that's one thing that I learned in coaching. I'm going to ask to hold questions to the end, only because I have so much and I want to make sure I get through it. But I will definitely answer questions at the end. And then finally, classes. How many of brokers that offer classes that you're not taking advantage of, right? Think about that. Online resources, your YouTube videos. So I got my license on March 27th. It was the day that I officially had my license. I have the legal license real estate agent. You know what else I did on March 27th of that same year? I listed my first house. It was a for sale by owner whose open house I'd went to the weekend before and said, hey, can I come back on Tuesday and talk about selling your home? How did I even know that was something that a real estate agent is supposed to do? They're supposed to go to open houses for sale by owners. And how did I know how to list a home before I was even licensed? I learned on YouTube, right? I learned by watching Michael Hellickson's 37-minute listing presentation. There's so much out there to take advantage of. And then finally, why as real estate agents, myself included, do we wait till 30 days before our license is going to expire to cram in all the continuing education we were supposed to do over the last 2 years, right? If you take the right courses, continuing education is supposed to help you be better and help you make more money. So why don't we want to do that as soon as possible? I don't know, but I'm right there with you. And then next thing, accountability. Accountability is the glue that binds commitment to results. Accountability is good for all areas of personal development. Think about a 12-step program. Think about your diet buddies, gym buddies, personal trainers. You know that if you got someone meeting you at that gym at 5 a.m., you're getting out of bed. They're not, you might roll over and get back under those covers when your 4:30 alarm goes off. And your business. How do you find accountability in your business? Well, if you're on a team or you're at a brokerage that has a huddle, or even Club Wealth has a daily huddle at 10 a.m. Eastern time, that's a great opportunity. On our team, we have a huddle every morning. Everyone's there on Zoom. We report our numbers from the day before, what we're going to do that day. So teams know that they could be on that huddle or people are going to notice. And if they miss or are late too many times, they're going to get called out and they're going to get off leave route, right? So it helps keep them accountable. If you don't have access to a huddle, create your own. Get an accountability partner. They could also be a role play partner too. Go on the Club Wealth Mastermind Facebook group. I am looking for an accountability partner to meet every day between 7:30 and 8 a.m. You'll find somebody. You'll probably find 2 or 3, and you get a nice little group going. Your coach, obviously you have a coach, they're going to give you homework. And then 2 weeks later, they're going to say, what'd you do on this? And you're going to have to go through, right? And then yourself. All the externals in the world won't help you if you can't keep yourself accountable. to the promises that you've made to yourself, to the promises you've made to your business. All right, so now it's 8 a.m. We've done the first three. It's 8 a.m. We're ready to start our day. We're ready to start making some money. So prospecting, obviously prospecting deserves its own session. But you have to talk to a lot of people in order to be successful, right? So what do we get in? We get into lead generation. That's the first thing you got to do, because guess what? You can't follow up or convert or serve any leads that you don't have. If you're a solo agent, you're probably responsible for about 100% of your old lead generation. So especially if you're just starting out and funds are tight, you got to really look for those free or very low cost sources. Open houses, for sale by owners, expired, door knocking, circle prospecting. Hopefully your brokerage is sending you leads too. I get a lot of great leads from my brokerage. There's a lot of referral sources. Club Wealth has a list of referral-based lead sources that you should access. Take advantage of every free resource you have before investing in money, and always talk to your coach before you're going to invest. Lead follow-up. Once you have the leads, you got to follow up with them. We know there's like a million numbers out there. It takes 18 attempts to reach someone. Average real estate agent stops after 2. Can take months or years to actually follow up with someone. And you know what? That's the job. Like, that's what you signed up for. You signed up for a lifetime of calling people and trying to get them to talk to you and trying to generate business from them, right? I dare you to try to over follow up with somebody. It's not possible. Look, if they're not going to work with you because you called them too many times, they're not going to work with you regardless, right? Follow-up is a great example of something you do not have to be awesome at. You just have to be better than others. It's like you and me, we're both getting chased by a bear. I don't need to be faster than the bear. I just got to be faster than you. You just got to be better than 90% of the other agents out there. And it's not that hard to be better than 90% of the agents out there, right? Just have a discipline around it and you'll do fine. Then once you follow up with them, you get them. Now you got to convert them, right? Conversion, especially in the shifting market, your sales skills, they're going to need to be dialed in. You're going to need to be strong. You're going to need to know what to say, when to say it, how to say it. No ums, no I don't knows, no ahs. You got to get crystal clear on the words. You got to learn to ask the right questions that drive the business to you. So quick tip, I always coach the team on, don't ever ask a question that can be answered with a quick yes or no. Do you want to put an offer on this house? Nope. Wrong question. Which house that you saw today would you like to put an offer on? Or at what price would this be a home that you consider moving forward with? Both of those questions, the answer still might be no. But now they have to think, right? They have to engage in conversation with you. And you're going to learn a lot about them. You're going to build that relationship with them, right? Questions about how they feel about something. Get them to think and feel. How would you feel if home prices didn't crash? They actually rose. And so did your interest rate. And 3 months from now you have no possibility of actually being able to buy a home. Why do you feel that there's a crash coming? What would it feel like to come home to this house every day? Right? Ask questions that engage them in conversation. So how do you do all these things? Well, for me, and for a lot of people, the phone is like a primary way to reach these people. For me, it was like my phone was like an ATM. I punched numbers in and money kind of fell out from the sky. And that's how I thought about my phone. I'm one of those people that just actually kind of likes calling strangers and doesn't really mind getting yelled at. Sometimes they call back and poor Jody answers and they curse her out thinking she's the one that called him. Some people like door knocking too, that's a supplemental. I just felt I could burn through a lot more people on the phone, but the door knocking is nice face-to-face. And then crowdsourcing, right? I am always surprised. How many of you have a name badge? Not this, a real estate name badge. Okay, hands down. How many of you wear it every single place you go? I do. Why? Like, I am always open for the possibility of doing business. I want everyone to know I'm a real estate agent and know that I'm approachable. And I've coached the team on this. And I mean, just like 2 weeks ago, Someone came and said, yeah, I was walking the street, my name badge, this lady came up to me, she just started talking, and I'm selling her house in 2 days. Another team member was in the liquor store, and the cashier said, oh, you're a real estate agent, we're thinking about selling our house. We did a listing appointment. Right? You are missing opportunity by not promoting. Like, we're all like, oh, we want to promote yourself on Facebook. Promote yourself on the street, right? Promote yourself at the supermarket, at your kid's school, right? You get so much business that way. 2 to 4 hours every day before noon. Making your prospecting calls 8 to noon. That is your window to do that. Don't let anything take away from that. Protect that with your life. All right, now you've done your prospecting, you've done your lead conversion. Now it's showtime, our appointments. For me, I always try to do my appointments in the afternoon, 1, 3, and 5. Everything's leading to this moment. An appointment or 2 a day will keep poverty away. 1 or 2 appointments with a new buyer or seller every day will cause massive business. Because even if you suck, if you're doing 1 or 2 appointments a day, first of all, you will generate some business and you'll get better. Right? Every time you go on an appointment, you get better. Now we're into face-to-face lead conversion. And that's a little harder, right? Because now you don't have your scripts and your objection handlers in front of you when you're on the phone. Now you really got to own dialogue. You got to know it here, you got to know it here, and you got to know it here. And you got to spout it out. It's like a tennis match. Anything they throw at you, you got to be able to pounce it right back. Most importantly, you have to believe in the product that you're selling. So Grant Cardone always says that he's not talking about real estate sales, he's talking about general sales. You have to own and invest in the product that you are selling. I always think about the Cutco knife boys, right? I just imagine their kitchens, right? Like they got all the Cutco knives. Or does anyone have a friend or spouse that sells Young Living oil? Right? You go into their home and it's like an apothecary, right? And they've got an oil to cure everything from depression to athlete's feet. And they are so passionate about essential oils and the healing properties. And you will believe it too before you leave their house. And you'll also have $100 worth of essential oils being mailed to your home. Yeah. What product are you selling on a listing appointment or buyer consultation? You. How much do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in yourself so much that you have a moral obligation to ensure that you get hired? Because if they don't hire you, if you don't convince them of your value, then they might wind up hiring some nincompoop, the next person that walks through that door. And then you failed them because then they're going to have a worse experience. They're going to make less money because you know that you are the best person for that job. So 2 types of appointments. One, we have our showing/buyer consultation. So I think of that when you're working with the buyers. I gotta be honest, I don't work with a lot of buyers because I'm a high D. More nurturing, consultative. We're going to get through this. I'm going to be with you every step of the way. I got you. Don't worry. You're asking them questions. It's going to help them come to a decision to make a huge commitment. 30 years and hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's a big commitment. A listing appointment, a little more down and dirty, right? You're kicking down that door, punching in the face, and you're taking that listing, and then you're getting out of there. Your job is to ask the seller questions that make them come to the decision and agree with you that there is no other intelligent choice but to hire you today. And when you're walking through that door at a listing appointment, remember you already have the listing. You're just there to get the paperwork signed. You go in, you need to take charge. You need to be the alpha in that situation because that's what they need. They need to feel like you got this. All right, stuff we love to hate. This is the administrative portion, right? The emails, the property searches, the marketing, the transaction coordination, the deal doctoring, the errands. We love it because it makes us feel like we're doing something. It makes us feel like we're busy, doing something productive. Yeah, it has to be done, but if you're not careful, it will hurt your bottom line. So it has to be on your schedule, and you have to limit it, and never between 8 and noon. In the beginning, you're probably going to have to do a lot of it yourself. So you got to be really disciplined about limiting that time and not letting it take away your prospecting time or your appointment time. As your business grows, you need to be getting much of that stuff, as much as possible, off your plate as quickly as possible. First lesson my broker taught me, which I changed brokerages about 2 years ago. First thing he taught me, he's like, Virginia, you need to think of yourself as a world-class surgeon. If I am going to go to the surgeon doesn't answer the phone. The surgeon doesn't book my appointment. The surgeon doesn't take my insurance card. The surgeon doesn't check me in, take my vitals, weigh me, take my blood pressure, prep me for surgery, give me anesthesia, or close me up after surgery. What does the surgeon do? The surgeon meets with them, consults, comes up with a plan of attack. Steps away. Comes into the surgery, does the things that only the surgeon can do that no one else can do, steps away. Then comes back, reviews, troubleshoots, and deals with next steps, right? Think of yourselves as surgeons as your business grows, right? And get stuff off of your plate as quickly as possible. And then when you start to have staff, help them get stuff off of their plate to more junior staff, to VAs, right? Hire before you think you should. Talk to your coach, but don't hire before you think you should. If you're not afraid to make the hire you're about to make, you've waited too long to hire them. This woman here is my director of operations, Jody Dongan. She's also the Club Wealth Admin of the Year, ladies and gentlemen. So I hired her. I hired her in 2020, 2 weeks before the COVID shutdown. I closed 42 transactions the year before. I hired her, we closed 85. I've gone from 42 to 200 in 2 years because of that woman right there. All of you should have a Jody. I'm working on the cloning process. I would be a billionaire. One thing about deal doctoring and putting out fires, as real estate agents, we want to fix everything, right? Some things you don't need to fix. Just let them work themselves out. But if you spend too much time deal doctoring and putting out fires instead of working on building your business, in 4 months, you're not going to have any houses to burn. And finally, taking care of what's important. I gotta be honest. I don't know if you noticed, but these slides are also kind of in the order of the day that I get them done. This one here is a tough one for me because if any of them, this is the one I failed at the most. And that I've spent really the last year to 6 months sort of putting the pieces back together on this. My family, I've had some real trouble in my family, probably in part because of the amount of time I was dedicating to my business. Haven't had enough time for my daughter, especially. Fitness, I don't know what happened. I got my real estate license. I gained 35 pounds, like, boom, right? Because my morning routine, I stopped working out, my diet got crappy. So I spent the last year restoring balance there. Now, faith, I've always been strong at. That's never wavered for me. And fun, I mean, I love my job more than anything. My job is fun all day long. My social life hasn't been so good. Again, so that's something that I am working on. If you're doing, 5 deals a year, working 20, 30 hours a week, I'm not worried about you. Not here. I'm worried about people like me doing 60, 70, 80 hours a week. You can't trust me. I mean, you heard of Kyle say he almost got divorced. I wasn't married at the time, but I probably would have gotten divorced 2 years into this because I don't think any man could have tolerated me, right? It will take you down if you don't focus on this stuff. So how do you get it all in? You schedule it. A little hard to read, but you get the idea. This is sort of a general version of one of my perfect daily schedules. Put it on a spreadsheet, you color code it, you print it out, you follow it. You can also, if you have a Google Calendar, you can put it in there too. But I've got everything blacked out. I got my morning routine, my admin time, huddles, appointment setting, a little more admin, appointments, dinner, church, off. It's all in there. My family time, my workout time, my meal time. It's all in there. It's called the Perfect Daily Schedule. There's a whole thing on Club Wealth on Perfect Daily Schedule. So what motivates you? What's going to make you do all this, right? Oh, wait, one thing more about this. So there's a myth in real estate, right? That being a real estate agent, you have lots of free time, a flexible schedule. You get to be your own boss. And wouldn't that be great? And being your own boss, it is awesome. But to be super successful in this business, you are going to have to be the toughest boss you have ever had. A taskmaster like no one else. And it starts with this. Let's talk about motivation. To motivate you to be this taskmaster, to do what needs to be done to have mega success in this business. So I have this thing that's called a 4-month ongoing reality check. So in New York, it takes, at least 2, but usually more like 3 months to close a transaction, right? So I know I have deals that are getting accepted offers now that'll close up till January. So I'm confident that I have closings in the books, October, November, December, and January. I don't have anything right now that I can confidently say is going to close in February. You know what I do have in February? What do I have in February? I have $50,000 worth of outgoing expenses in February, right? I better make sure I have some business. And I think about that a lot. And I do have, and I'm going to the Bahamas. So I definitely better have some business, right? All right, find your why. A lot of people have different approaches to why. And so mine may or may not be Club Wealth approved or what you believe. But my feeling is that this business takes such a all-encompassing amount of commitment, dedication, and effort that is completely unsustainable without an infinite cosmic why, powerful enough to fuel it. It needs to be something that you can never actually achieve and that it grows with you. So my why is I spent 25 years trapped in the hamster wheel of a middle-class mindset, living a life that on the outside looked really perfect, while I was miserable on the inside. And I couldn't get out because all of these things that I had, I clutched onto with white knuckles, thinking this is as good as it gets, and I don't actually deserve anymore. Until one day God said, child, you are wasting this one precious life that I have given you, and I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. So he reached out and he stripped everything away from me, and I had to start over. And that enabled me to find the true gifts and talents that I have. And I want to honor that. And I want to fulfill his purpose for me and use the abundance I've been graced with to help elevate the lives of others. That is a why that has fueled me from the beginning of my career until the day I die. Elevating the lives of others. That will always grow. In the beginning, it was elevating the lives of my families. And then it was my clients, my family, my clients. And then it was my family and my clients and my team. And now it's my family, my clients and the team and the people that hear my message. I've been doing podcasts and these type of talks and helping them, right? And then in March, I'm going on a mission with Global Health Organization in Guatemala. And then I foresee a day where I'm going to be helping to elevate the lives of others because of the hospitals and the libraries and the schools and the churches that my abundance and my business is going to enable me to help to build, right? So why I'll never completely fulfill because I'll always be able to expand it, but my business has to expand to support it. So my why feeds my goals. I have a very disciplined goal setting routine, right? I write them out every day. I have 18. And then I write, what are the next action items to move them forward? And sometimes they're immediate things. And sometimes I have goals, that I don't expect to come to fruition until 2025. Those action items may be a little bit further out. And then I highlight any action item that is something that I would like to do that day. So by the end of the exercise, it takes me about a half an hour in the morning. I have a highlighted list of everything that I'd like to do today that's going to help move my goals forward. Okay. Then what's the most impactful? goal. Of those 18 goals, I looked at them. This was the impactful goal was actually, I mean, Michael talked about today, which was ironic. It was actually something from the 10X rule, like Grant Cardone's book. Which goal in your list of goals that if it came to fruition within 24 to 48 hours would most move your business, your life forward, would help you achieve most of your other goals? And when I looked at it, it jumped out at the page so quickly. And it was my recruiting goal. If I met my recruiting goal numbers, I would meet my transaction numbers, my ranking numbers, my income numbers, my taking nice vacation numbers, my lifestyle goals, my giving goals, my core mission goals. And there's one more. There was 8 goals that if I met my recruiting goal, it would make all those 8 happen like this. So look at your goals. What's the most impactful one? And then really focus on that one. So what I did, I finally hired a recruiter, right? And put more of my focus on recruiting. Let's see, what's next? All right, so earlier I said consistency trumps awesomeness. But over time, it creates awesomeness. For all of Michael's amazing moves and unforgettable moments, he knew none of that could have happened without the fundamentals. Those basic moves he had practiced over and over since he was a kid made everything else possible. He didn't work on being flashy. He worked on being consistent, and he worked on it relentlessly. Cleaners don't care about instant gratification. They invest in the long-term payoff. A great example of a sports analogy to real estate. So what do you do now? Well, I am humble enough to admit that I doubt anything I said was that revolutionary today, that it isn't something you probably haven't heard before multiple times. You know enough to be successful. You really do. I once had an agent in my market call me about a listing, and he asked me a question about the listing, and I answered it. And then I realized the real reason he was calling me, because his next question was, this is like a year ago, Virginia, you've only been a real estate agent for 3 years. How are you getting all these listings? And I said, well, what do you mean? He was like, well, what are you doing? I said, well, I work really hard and I make a lot of phone calls. He's like, were you calling for sale by owners? Yes. Expireds? Yes. Are you doing open houses? Always. Are you circle prospecting? Yes. Are you? And I said, stop. Stop right there. We all know the same things. We all have the same list. You have a list of things to do. I have the same list. The only difference between you and me is I'm actually doing them, and you're still trying to figure out whether they're worth your time. Stop wondering whether something's worth your time. Just do it. That would have been a good question. Actually, I think I did say when you started asking, I was like, well, if you really want all my secrets, you could come and join my team. I think I did say that. Eliminate failure languages. 2 words that are not allowed on our morning huddle is try and problem. And Jody, we're going to add, I don't know, as something the agents are not allowed to say anymore. I'll try. That means I'm probably going to fail, but you can't be upset because I said I'm only going to try. So if I fail, at least I warned you. I will. I'm going to. And problem. There are no problems. There are challenges, obstacles, hurdles. And what do? They all give you opportunities to be great, to create solutions, to provide value for the client so that your seller is saying, oh my goodness, I'm so glad that we hired you because we wouldn't have known how to overcome this issue without you. Commit to a schedule that supports success and be accountable to someone to adhere to that schedule and to your other commitments. Pick 3 things that you learned for the conference and do them. And do them every day. Success is boring and it's repetitive. And then build on them. And I love this quote. Don't let learning lead to knowledge. Let it lead to action. That is a great quote to take from a conference like this. You guys got a lot of learning. Don't just let it be knowledge, let it be action. So I'm going to ask a question. So how many of you, after I was talking about Miracle Morning, thought to yourself, That's a pretty good book. Yeah, I think I'm going to buy that book. Raise your hand if you think you're going to buy Miracle Morning. That you don't have it, but now you're going to buy it. Raise your hand. Okay, hands down. Now raise your hand if during my talk you were on Amazon ordering and it's already on your Kindle, or it's going to be delivered to your home by 10 p.m. tomorrow. Anybody? Implementation. That's implementation. I did this talk last week and a woman actually raised her hand. And I was like, I'm going to give $100 to a charity of your choice just for doing that. Implementation, right? Look for opportunities for small steps like that where you can implement immediately. You can't always make quick decisions like that because there's big costs. There's, things you got to talk with your coach. Ordering a book, signing up for a podcast. There's no downside to that. So do things that get you in implementation mode. I was into the coaches training on Monday, and same thing happened. Luigi, I was sitting next to Luigi, and he's talking about this book, and he's like, everyone needs to get this. So I had my phone. I went, I said, is this the right book? He's like, yep, order, bam, done. Now I don't think about it. Seize the moment where you want to do something and just do it. Final slide. I've got one more. So my entire presentation, so 5 minutes, can be summed up this last slide. So thank you. I do have a list of resources that either a direct quote was taken from or a significant concept was taken from. So these are books I've all read and recommend. Okay, I have 5 minutes. I cannot believe that I finished with 5 minutes left. I hope I wasn't talking too fast. Question. Yes, Don.
What was the one thing you learned in coaching that paid for your coaching right away?
I guess I can share it in this room. It was the listing menu. So basically we elevated our listing commission on average of 1%. Just because you got to get better. Just got to get better presenting it. Takes time, takes practice. Definitely. And confidence, right? Other questions? Top three, I like bigger pockets. I like, there's one, gosh, I just remember the guy's name, Raymond. I was on it once. I like his podcast. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I'll have to get it to you. Other questions? Were you all, I mean, like, there's like 10 hands go up and I answered about that one thing.
Everybody had that question.
Right. What did you say? Oh, who moved my cheese? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys. I hope you got a lot out of this.